I'm Adrienne Rose.
I am Kane Roselle.
And I'm the art.
And I am the science
of transformation.
And we are Coast to Coach. Hello, everybody. We are here with another fantastic episode with the Miss Chauntel Kassab. Chauntel is certified from the Dale Carnegie Institute in Leadership. Hi, Chauntel.
Hi, Kane. Hi, Adrienne. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Very honored.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you learned over with Dale Carnegie.
One thing that it's been over 15 years. It's such an amazing course. They actually still hold the trainings locally in your area. So it's worldwide for you to become certified. And it's amazing because they teach these principles not only, to individuals, but to an entire corporate sales force as well. My message that I never ever forget is don't criticize, condemn, and complain. Those are the number 3 top. Yeah, just something that he always mentions. And I really love his principles. Basically, it's coming down to how to win friends and influence people, which is a book that he also wrote. And then just kind of winning people in your way of thinking. Okay, and also it's more focused on leadership. So how to be genuine, how to be sincere, and it all goes back to the most basic principles. So he basically breaks it down, very simple. It's a 15-week course. Every single week is very, very extensive. You will learn so much from this program, and it's worth the investment and the time. And to be honest, it's been completely life-changing. And I was grateful to have taken the course at such a young age, because it just kind of makes you think, and when you have challenging times in your life, either personally or professionally, I actually always end up bringing out the book again and then relating back to, whatever issues I'm having, worries, problems. There's always a solution to it. It's really about how your thought process, is, and the actions that we take. So it's an amazing course, and I highly recommend it to anybody who who's willing to take themselves to the next level.
It really is a case, right? Like all the great teachers always tell the same thing, that it's the mindset that you bring into it. What you were saying about, criticizing and condemning, my dad always used to have something he would say about that, especially when I was a child, and, you get angry at childish things and you want to lash out. But he would always tell me, it is easier to criticize and condemn than it is to understand. And when we look at that, how much criticizing and condemnation do we have in our world? It's quite a bit of it. And, it's unfortunate because it gets conflated so many times. People are criticizing the bad, and they make it look like they're doing a good thing. Right? But if they pay attention to the energy that they're holding around it, they would find that it's not such a good thing, because they're actually adding to a negative kind of a fuel, right? Mm-hmm. So what's the right approach there? When you see something that's negative, you don't feed it with negativity. You neutralize it at best with positivity, and maybe have some influence over and turn it into a positive experience. And these kinds of principles in leadership are so important. And all of us life coaches here on the call, this is just something that everybody struggles with at one time or another. You know, perhaps some people may have it easier than others and just get a really good habit of reserving judgment. But I think that that's rare. And we always have to work on our mindset and how we approach any situation. You know, and it's unfortunate too. I think that we hear the word mindset thrown around so much that it's like a cliche, or it feels like a cliche, like the word love. Oh, I love candy. You know, like, okay, but do you really? And it just turns out to be like this hyperbolic statement that doesn't have a whole lot of water bearing to it. You know, and we talk about mindset so much, and it's so very important. We take it with us everywhere we go. You know, now my understanding is that you're like a part-time life coach, but you're really moving into the publishing industry, but you still, even though publishing is where you want to go with your major direction, you just love helping people so much that you still hold life coaching on the side. Is that right?
Correct. Life coaching really is my true passion, my desire. It's what I'm meant to, you know, to do here on earth. I've been doing it for probably over 15 years, and I've been doing it for free for a very long time with family and friends. And I finally realized, I'm like, you know what, I have a gift. I want to offer it to the world. And it's amazing the transformation my clients go through with just a simple hour conversation, and just the shift and the transformation that takes place is extraordinary. It's mind-blowing. And sometimes, you know, even us as coaches, we need coaches to help us get to the next level. So, you know, I really enjoy investing my heart, my soul into helping others. It's really truly what I'm meant to do. And I just recently started, the publishing industry, and I'm really looking forward to launching my first book. It is very exciting, scary, and challenging at the same time. And I can't wait to share that experience with you guys. So, yes, basically, yeah, I'm excited. Mm-hmm.
Good job. I'm excited for you, Chauntel. That's beautiful. And I love what you said, right? The even coaches, we all need coaches. I mean, I think we've said this on some of our other podcasts, the best mentors in the world still have mentors. I know Tony Robbins pays his coach something like $1 million a year to travel with him. And then speaking of Dale Carnegie, I recently learned Dale Carnegie, he mentored Napoleon Hill, right? Napoleon Hill mentored Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale then mentored Bob Proctor. And of course, Bob Proctor has been around for 60 years, right? Teaching the same exact material. And that it all comes down to mindset, because we all have blind spots. And one of the things I love Bob Proctor says is that a mentor is somebody who believes in you more than you believe in yourself and pulls it out of you, right? And there's really nothing in the world like it. And I believe that's why people get that transformation, why we're with them, right? Whether it's on the phone, Zoom, in person, whatever it is because they really feel like we feel it from you that you love to do this. Feel it from Kane, he loves to do it, and then people feel it from us, so we're able to pull that out of them, you know. And so when was the moment, like, was there a moment in your own life that you knew you were meant to do this, that you were meant to coach others?
Yes, about 10 years ago, I had some type of epiphany. I was struggling with sleeping. And I kept questioning, how can I earn an income from offering my guidance, my love, whatever I have, the gift that I truly have. It just comes natural to me. And I noticed a lot of people were approaching me for advice. It didn't matter what it was, to be honest. It could have been business, relationship, love, I'm very diverse in many, many backgrounds, but and experience, right, with life. We go through the motions of life. And I would say about 10 years ago is when it really hit me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm meant to be a life coach. Yep. And it's been very rewarding since.
That's a good thing to put out too, because I think a lot of people feel like, man, this money thing, this is like a real responsibility. I think I'm going to have to work as a cashier the rest of my life. Or I think I'm going to have to go into real estate, even though, yeah, most people seem to make a ton of money in real estate, but I really don't want to do that. Or my parents always forced me to be in the medical industry or be a lawyer or, all of this kind of thing. And we all want, as Adrian would say, the yes and. You know what I mean? Where you're making money, but you're doing what you love. Mm-hmm. And those of us that are in the coaching industry, it's, we're blessed in that we get to do what we love and help people by giving life-changing advice or helping people find their own direction, especially in evocative coaching, which is what we do, which is really about asking targeted questions to help a person discover their own truth and then give them the tools to act on it, right? So that's what we do. But if your dream, like one of my side things that I do is I make music. Well, do you think there are people out there making music and that make a lot of money? Yeah, they exist. But, your average musician has to work a regular full-time job. So the question becomes like, how do I have my yes and where I get to do the thing that I love and then make money on it? And very specifically, your journey into life coaching is exactly what that journey is like. What was yours like, Adrian?
For me, it's been about the same. It's interesting with me. And I say this humbly, I've been doing this work for so long that I've been trained to not do anything for money. And I know that's easier said than done, but I do believe Mary Morrissey, Bob Proctor, they all say it, that do what you love and the money will come. Right? Because, or even Jim Carrey, right? He learned from his dad. I love Jim Carrey's story. He said he learned from his dad that you can fail at something you hate, so you might as well do something you love. Right? Because I know some realtors that make no money because they don't like it. Right? And same thing. And then I know a human being who's amazing in music. He writes music for movies and he went to law school. He went to Harvard Law School, came out and decided, nope, I'm going to move to Los Angeles and write music. And he has an incredible career in the movies because he followed his spirit, where common hour thinking would tell him, no, you're going to be a lawyer. You just went to Harvard Law School. Right. Mm-hmm. But he's very, very successful and actually helped change like the music industry in that field. So I'm a firm believer that if you follow your passion, there's always a way to earn a living doing it. And so for me, it just happened organically because I knew that. I was trained though, right? It was put in my mindset and I'd seen it so many times that I knew it was possible.
I love that piece too, because what came up for me when you were speaking is how I've often heard of the success from people that go to Ivy League schools. And some people would say, yeah, it's just because you get connected when you're there, or your parents have money. Like, people are too easy to pass it off to things like that. Oh, your situation was just better than mine. But what I think happens, like I know in MIT, one of the things that they have to do in order to get their degree is they actually have to conquer a seemingly impossible project that's usually outside of their field, right? Like some engineering thing or whatever the case is. And the whole purpose is to teach them to be resourceful. It's to give them confidence that they can do it and to start working on that mindset so that they can be successful when they get out of school, right? Because it's not always like so obvious what your next step is going to be. You got to figure it out. And you don't figure it out by looking necessarily 8 steps in front of you. Sometimes it helps to know what your end goal is. Matter of fact, in coaching, we tell people all the time, imagine what you want to be in 3 years and then work backwards from there. But that doesn't mean you know every single step, right? So you take a step and the next one slowly becomes revealed to you what that's supposed to do, right? Mm-hmm. And so when Adrian was talking about that, like the mindset, and it's like, yet again, right? I talked about this in the beginning of the call, where mindset is just so darn important, and mentors help bring that out.
They sure do.
Oh boy, I wouldn't be anywhere without having good mentors. I mean, honestly, So what is the drive towards publishing for you?
For me, just relaying the message out there, that can be relatable to other people struggling in all areas of their life. Personally, me, I've been challenged. Basically, I know, I hope I can it just depends. I'm sure a lot of people struggle through, having their priorities straight, for example. But they're making sacrifices and trying to put things basically, it's just what I'm trying to say is I want to relate a message to the audience. I don't know exactly specifically. My first book is going to be about trying to help others, getting their priorities in order, getting, understanding that I can't even be clear about my message here. Basically, what I'm trying to do is just share the message out to the world and hoping it resonates with certain people so they can, go ahead and act on it, and hopefully it'll make a difference for them.
I'll tell you, people need to hear it from you because you've actually been pretty successful in your life. And when we look at the things that we've gone through and we try to slow it down, sometimes you get like a big download and it can be a little difficult to articulate into words. So I know a little bit about what it feels like to, even on a live situation like we're in right now, because you have actually been really successful in your life. You've done very well.
Yes.
In
many areas,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. And so when you try to slow that down and chunk it, it can be a little bit difficult because you see how everything is so interconnected. It may all come down to mindset, but when we try to get the cliche out of the word mindset, really try to say specific things, it can be difficult to kind of hash out. And so what I would say is what you're talking about, like you started mentioning prioritization and how important that is absolutely paramount, right? Because if you don't know what your priorities should be, how easy is it just to fall by the wayside, right?
Well, and this is what most people are struggling with. And that's why, they hire people like us to help them and guide them in that direction. So, if I can't physically, or if I can't, sit here and actually coach you, I want to be able to at least provide a book for you and a tool, a resource for you to take it and read it and apply all the steps, for you to be able to move forward.
That's wonderful, Chauntel. I get it. And the thing is too, is people are very distracted. People, that's probably the number one thing I help a lot of my clients with is focus. Cause like Kane said earlier, they're never going to know how. And of course the how kills many, many dreams. People think they should know how. If we knew how, our dream's not big enough, bottom line, or we would have done it already. Right. But just helping people focus because there's so many distractions out there. Like for me personally, it's a habit for me that I do not watch the news. I limit how much time I'm on social media because it is a huge distraction. And I know for other people it is as well. And then with the energy of the world. And then if we learned for many people, anything through COVID basically is getting our priorities straight, what's really important to us, right? And sometimes we have to, there is, Kane and I both teach the universal laws. I don't know if you do as well, but there's the law of sacrifice, that we have to sacrifice the good of today for better of tomorrow. And that's something that a lot of people resist. And that also kills dreams, because they're like, and I think the best example that we all know, whether we're sports fans, Kane, or not, is what.
Always making fun of me because I'm the weird one of the group. I know. It's fine.
I love it. I love it. I make fun of myself too all the time, as we know. And so the athletes sacrifice, a lot to become professional athletes. And it does not matter if they are at the top of their game, because they know if they stop practicing, guess what? They're going to go back down again. Right. Mm-hmm. So especially when they're young in college and their buddies are out partying and whatever, they're in the gym and they're up at 5 a.m. and they're sacrificing, right, the party or whatever it is for what they really, really want. And that really comes down to all of us. Like me, for example, tomorrow's a holiday, but I'm choosing to work and study tomorrow. I'm not going to go celebrate the holiday. And that's something that I'm choosing to do consciously, and I'm okay with it. I'm absolutely okay with it because I know what it's going to bring me in the future.
That's wonderful.
And two, if you love what you do, is it work?
No.
And that's exactly what you're doing, Adrian. The law of sacrifice. You are sacrificing.
Yeah. And I'm grateful. To me, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice, but
exactly.
But it's because I'm aware of it, right? It's really awareness. It's because I'm aware of it, where so many people were not. I love the story of, oh goodness, Kane, you're the music guy. What's his? There's a great story. Anyways, he literally was in a hotel room in New York for months and months and months. And during that time wrote his best music ever. But he literally was in the biggest depression of his life. And then when we go back and look at it, that was the law of sacrifice. It was Fire and Ice, the song Fire and Ice, or Fire and Rain. Yeah. And so we can look at pretty much every single person that's become successful, and they had a time in their life where they sacrificed, and so we can either do it consciously and welcome it, or we can fight it. And guess what? We're going to sacrifice anyways, right? We're always sacrificing.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is sacrifice, right? It's giving up one thing for another. Now, which is a trade, right? Now, if you're sacrificing consciously and you're doing it towards a direction, you could rephrase it and say that you're trading one thing for another that is more important. And of course, what decides what's important and what is not important is up to the individual and their goals. But it's realizing that, and this is something Proctor says constantly, and I know many people in our industry say, and that is that if you want results that nobody else has, you've got to be willing to do things that nobody else is willing to do. And that, to me, is sacrifice. But sacrifice does not have to feel laborious. It doesn't have to feel like a bad thing. When you're fully in loved and engaged with your purpose while you're doing it, and you've got that vision in your head of what it's going to be like, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier when you go and you look and you say, geez, how great is it going to be to share with other people what I've learned? And you just see in your mind their eyes lighting up because whatever they got from you. Or if you're a musician, right, and you write something that really touched your soul, like I had something I had just written and I put it out on Bandcamp, my first song ever, right? And that was a thing for me. But even when I listen to it now, it makes me feel something. So regardless of whether it makes me a ton of money or not, I really don't care. What I hope is that there's some people that are going to feel it too. And what I love about what you said, Chauntel, about going into the publishing is it really is like a no man left behind kind of a thing. Not everybody is ready to commit to a solid 2 to 3 month course or plan in life coaching, because transformation takes time. There's no way around it. It's true that you can have radical transformation in short amounts of time. It absolutely happens. But when you're looking at going from point A to point B, you've tried it many times, nothing has worked. You've got some things in your mind that are going to take some time to turn around, right? Not everybody is ready to commit to a big, long course. And of course, the ones that are will get those results. There's no doubt about it. And can you get those results from a book? Absolutely you can, if you don't shelf the book. If you don't let it collect dust. You actually take what the person says and you put it out into the world. Of course, the advantage of a coach is you talk about it. They help you connect the dots and apply it to your life, right? But a book is what? Anywhere from like $10 to $25, sometimes 50 or 60 if it's a big textbook, right? But that really is so accessible. So accessible. Right before this call, you all saw it. I downloaded a book right on my phone because I want the information that's in that book. I'm not really in a position where I want to go fly out to go to some big convention to go get that information. So I have it here on my phone. I love what you're doing because you also do coaching. And you know, you're right. You're probably going to write books on a variety of different topics because you enjoy writing. You're very different than me. I don't like writing.
Can I want to add to that. Actually,
Please.
during this, what I'm noticing first and foremost, all three of our coaching business is thriving, especially at a time like right now during COVID. Humans are needing, they're having their own transformation, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to take them in the right direction. People have been tired all these years. They are all now finally having an awakening. We all need human interaction. And coaching right now as we speak is completely on fire. There has never been a time for you to hire a coach than right now, okay? Because 2021 is going to be a completely different year, especially if you take the initiative and the action to start now. Because if not now, then when?
Absolutely. And the other part of it is, right, is I think, many people want change, but they don't know how to do it. And that's because we have habits, right? 90% of, if not more, 99% of what human beings do are habits. And we need help to create new habits, right? Or paradigms, like we call them in the coaching world, right? And that's the thing, is we all have blind spots. That's why all coaches have coaches. And then of course, the smarter we get, the smarter our ego gets. And it gets very, very tricky because it's been with us our entire life. So it knows what to say, it knows what to do, because of course the human brain's job is to keep us where we are. And so what's happening right now, of course, there's a huge shift in humanity, yet we are human beings with, depending on how old we are, I'm 42, I have 42 years of programming behind me. So as much as I may want to shift, if I were on my own, I would not know how. And the best way we can look at that is losing weight or quitting smoking, right? People know how to lose weight. Do they do it? Not necessarily. Why? Because it's a habit, right? They're have programming. Same thing with smoking. People know it's not healthy for them, that they could die, but it's a habit, and then they do it. So it comes down to deciding, first and foremost, is you have to make a decision and then be willing to sacrifice, really is what we're talking about, and learn. So whether it's starting with a book, but people can read, I've seen so many people, I'm sure you guys have too, and I say this with love, that have read thousands of books and have zero results.
Oh yeah.
And it's because they don't know how to repattern their habits. And I'm the first one to share, that I learned my quote unquote biggest paradigm, which is I don't need you, when I was 24, my very first personal development event. I did not learn how to repattern it till I was 36 years old, because knowing something doesn't mean anything. But this is why, right? And then once I learned how to repattern it, and it'll still come up for me, but now I'm aware of it and I can choose, do I go into this or do I just say, no, thank you, right? But that took me a while. And it took me working with coaches to be able to do that. So that's also why coaching is so important, is because we all have those blind spots, and including myself, including Chauntel, including Kane, right? We all have them. and that coaches can, with love and care, with the right coach, pull, help you see it and then repattern it.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me so much of what you were just telling me too, when we were talking, Adrian, about how when you're out of alignment, right, all kinds of opportunities come your way.
Oh yeah.
But because you're out of alignment and you don't have alignment one direction, it's all kinds of opportunities. Doesn't mean you should take them.
I'm going through that right now.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. We have cycles in our life where sometimes just the timing is what it is, and we just got so much happening and coming at us that we perceive to be heavy, that we got to just work our way through it. But it always gets better. It always does.
Always.
We say that it's not whether you fall off the saddle or not. It's how long you stay off before you come back on. And mindset training, coaching, all those kinds of things help. And books absolutely help. We were all just having a conversation about that. I think you were talking, Chauntel, about these 2 20-year-olds that came into the understanding of what it means to read a book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat a little bit of that?
Yeah, they just didn't understand, how people were becoming successful. They didn't understand why most successful people would recommend reading, and until they finally had their own success. They're self-made millionaires, and they get it. They understand it now. And what they do now is they give out the same advice every successful person does. Read a book. So.
Yes, and I love books. Just to let everybody know, I have a bumper sticker on my car that says "Reading is sexy." So I read, and I usually read. I love to read. I'm never not reading a book, right? But again, it just sometimes that on its own is not enough, right? We need for lasting transformation. We need help as well. But please read. I want to make sure. I just wanted to clarify that, because reading is so important. And I just got 2 new books delivered yesterday from Amazon, and I'm very, very grateful. And I'll read them both this month. So absolutely.
Yeah, and I love what you were saying earlier too, Adrian, about that, is that it's not enough just to understand something in an intellectual way.
Mm-hmm.
There is an experiential side of learning. And the truth is that either side can come before the other side does. Sometimes you experience something, and then retrospectively, you intellectually understand what happened. And sometimes you're trying to figure something out, and you start to understand it in an intellectual plane, but it doesn't really become part of your reality until you experience it, until you go through it. You know what I mean? So either side can actually happen first, but you need both. You really do. Because the intellectual side helps you repeat experiences you want to have, right? Because that's that part of you that can put things together and make situations happen, right? Otherwise, you're just hoping and praying then that the random circumstances are going to happen, or that you're going to respond to the circumstances the way that they happen in the way you want. So the intellectual part helps you really control some of that. I always hate to use the word control, because it's not about controlling everything. That's a very dangerous mindset. But this has been a great call, hasn't it? Wow.
It has. Mm-hmm.
So
I really
much.
enjoyed being on here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, man. So happy to have each one of you every single week doing these with inspiring people, all different parts of our journey. And I love too, Chauntel, that you're a coach that's branching into a new area of development, because I think that really shows people that we're not limited, okay? And that you can do so many different things. Just because you have a passion here in one area, it doesn't mean that's the only thing, like you've pigeonholed yourself to be. Adrian and I were just talking to somebody we mutually know that's got 7 businesses that have seemingly nothing to do with one another. Nothing. Your businesses do, the publishing and the coaching. Mine, my music and my coaching has something to do with each other, and it really is not so limiting. And I love it. And we're catching you at a part where you're just getting into publishing. And so if we have another podcast with you in the future, we can hear about how it's changed, what it was like, because you're going to use all the tools of transformation again.
Definitely. And I will be so excited to be sharing my title and my book with everyone the next time. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That's right. It's one step at a time, isn't it?
It sure is.
Wonderful. And Chauntel, if somebody's heart right now is like, oh my goodness, she's amazing, the way we think you are and would love to work with you, what is the best way for them to reach out to you to get in
Most
contact?
definitely. Yep. So you can contact me directly through my personal email. It's ChauntelKassab@gmail.com. And I'll have Kane also put it in the notes section as well.
That's right. We shall absolutely do that, because I hope that people follow you and they follow your career in publishing as well as that develops, because you're one that has been so successful in life, and you're bringing it to a whole new stage. That's really going to help people. So our audience really should follow you. Because there's going to be some great stuff coming your way. There's already great stuff coming your way, but it's just going to keep going. It's the way it goes.
Always a work in progress, moving forward.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yes, it was. And we do hope very soon to have you again.
I look forward to it.
Thank you very much for this week's episode, and we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.